So, Lee, the Understudy play, you have kindly agreed to take my place because I've had to back out because...
Yeah, I mean, some people might think that I was the understudy for you, and I wish that I was, because then I'd be more prepared. Although, be honest, would I have been, or would I have assumed I was never going on?
I have to be abroad because the point of this is it's not like so many plays, and like this Understudy was as first performed, a Zoom or a kind of video conferencing achievement. It's genuinely in the theatre, and you're going to be on stage, and I think the audience will be so excited.
Yeah, and I have to be honest, it was so last minute we've been asked to do this. I didn't know that. I've only just found it out. I thought it was in the theatre and going out in the ether, and people would be paying to watch it online. And I thought, well, then of course I'll do it. I thought, there's no audience. I won't be nervous. I won't be able to see them. They'll be in the living rooms. Yeah. So then I heard the word, and don't forget, we've got tickets available in the Circle.
As Edna Everage likes to say, colour and movement is enough for the poor darlings. They'll be so thrilled.
To be fair, Dame Edna was far more colourful than
me. Well, possibly. Yeah, you have to consider how to dress. I mean, it is one of the very first live stage performances that there would have been since March, I guess, in London. And
yeah, it's very exciting, and it's also, I like the fact that it's for the cause of the theatre as well, because
exactly, it's going to raise money for a lot of really good. Because people out there are desperate people. You know, you and I are pretty lucky. We've kind of drawn the long straw in show business, and we're still being asked to do things and keeping busy. But there are so many actors, many of whom are infinitely more talented than me, certainly in terms of their range of skills.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it's also, I mean, this similar thing happened early in the year where I and many other people donated somebody towards a fund for comedians who were, not on the telly, people you wouldn't have heard of. And it's a very hard thing sometimes to get your friends interested in, because they go, sorry, you're donating to comedians. It's hardly the third world, is it? But there's a lot of people out there haven't worked for a long time in all works, including acting, and comedy. So everyone has to pay the mortgage.
Yeah, and when they do work, comedians don't sit in the back of limousines being driven around. They're up 3 in the morning on the M6 going, back home, and then they're up the next day for 2 more. It's a tough life.
I had it for 10 years. I had a diet of Ginster's pasties and pot noodle, and that's how I've got the figure I have today. And that's why I need that
skin of Steve Bannon. Oh, look at that. This is your gym. Are we in your gym?
Do you know what? I've had it 3 years hanging there. I think it's twice.
It's
only twice, because it's a look. It makes it look like a New York loft apartment, and I don't think I've ever hit it.
It does. It looks like Robert De Niro's den, his man cave.
It looks right. That's all that matters. It's all about the PR of exercise. So the main question I have to ask you, Stephen, is you are known for your voice. I think you are you do a lot of voiceovers, you do a lot of audio books. I, on the other hand, do you know how little I do? I wouldn't even do my own audio book.
Oh, didn't you? Didn't you do Mack the Life? Is that
Mack the Life? Yes, good knowledge. I won't say have you read it. I won't bother, because if you say yes, I'll test you.
No, I haven't read it, but I will.
You did what all us performers do. You looked at it, skimmed the index to see if it'd been mentioned, put it back on the shelf. We all do.
You know that there's a great story about Gore Vidal, who had a long-running kind of feud with Norman Mailer, the both of them contemporary great New York, great American writers. And in his memoirs, Gore Vidal had an index, and under Mailer, Norman, knowing that Norman Mailer would only go into the bookshop and look up his name in the index, under Mailer Norman, it just goes, "Hi, Norman."
That's great. I do the opposite. If I'm ever going to mention a comedian in a positive or negative way, I deliberately allude to them, so they have to read the whole book to find the bit.
Very clever.
It makes more people read your book, doesn't it? That's my technique. So the question is,
getting back to that.
Yeah. Well, with all your years of experience, give me a tip.
My tip is, and it's kind of bruisingly honest and silly, really, is just to be yourself. Let your natural voice and your desire to tell the story and to introduce the characters to the audience be your guide. I'm people sometimes nice about my voice, but I sometimes wish that it weren't so old-fashioned English BBC kind of, that it had a bit more color and texture and locality perhaps. But I'm prepared to say that is my voice. It's real. It's not put on, and your voice is your voice. I think it's a bit like, if you're reading a book, you don't want the print to change color and draw attention to the page. You want it to disappear into your mind. And similarly with an audiobook or with a narration, you kind of don't want to hear the performance. You just want to be let into the...
Well, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because I suppose as the narrator, you've got that unusual situation of being in it, but also being
above it,
the voice of the viewer. You're saying, I'm watching this like you're watching this, because I am commenting on what happens. I figured that if I do a good job, it'd be like a referee in the Premier League. You don't notice me.
Exactly.
So much so that I won't turn up.
Don't do that. Listen, I feel awful that I was all set to do it, but I have to go abroad to America for a work thing, and so I just can't be in London for Monday and Tuesday. But there are still tickets, I should tell.
Yes, I believe so. I don't know why I'm saying. I didn't even know there was an audience turning up an hour ago. But now that I know that, tickets are available.
To be part of that audience, go to understudyplay.com. And you'll find out how to come, and you'll see that there are, of course, all the proper biosecurity protocols in place for a fabulous evening. And I performed in front of an audience. It was for a concert, a music concert, but it was the day before lockdown, and there was an extraordinary atmosphere because everybody in the theatre knew it was probably the last time they would be together in an audience for what we then thought maybe 2 or 3 months, as we now know it was a lot longer. And the excitement next week when you're introducing everybody to the world of the Understudy is that it will be the opposite. It will be for almost everybody the first time they've been together in the theatre. And it's a play about someone having a bit of bad luck as an actor in the theatre. It's a comedy.
And I have to say, it is, obviously I'm going to say this, I'm in it and I'm here to promote it, but it's very good. I mean that because I'm the narrator. I'm allowed to say that because I'm not in it. I'm commenting on it. And as the narrator, I can sit back and go, there's long periods where I don't speak. And I was loving it. I was watching it going, it's like what I did do it on Zoom, the rehearsal. It was like watching the TV. And I was going, this is great. I thought, I'm in this. I better find out where I'm up to. But it's a really great.
It's your friend Matt Horn, of course.
Matt's in it.
Yeah. And I'm sure people know who's in it. But James Norton, of course, who is a fantastic actor and hugely popular.
Well, Matt did send me a screenshot of me and James. He said, why are you in the same show as the next James Bond? Which I thought was a very fair point. And I didn't know who was sending it to, me or James. I wasn't sure who that was aimed at.
Well, you could certainly describe this as odd job, couldn't you? So maybe
it is an odd job, yeah.
You could be a minion. Listen, I'm so thrilled. I'm so grateful that you've stepped in, and I'm sure the audience will be too, because I just know you're going to make it wonderful.
Well, why don't we say I'll do the first?
I've actually got to pack for America tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I will do the first night, and then I will phone you and say, get back on the plane if it hasn't gone to plan. Okay. I mean, that's a deal. I'll meet you halfway.
Perfect. Let's do that. All right, then.
Stay in the airport lounge.
Break a leg. As the French say, merde, merde, merde. Do you know the French say that for good luck?
Of course I don't. I don't work in the theatre enough to know that they even say break a leg. This is a whole new world for me. But trust me, I will be saying that to the other performers as if I'm
it means that it's the sh word, merde.
Of course it is, yeah.
And so they say that as a good luck, merde, toi merde.
You've just reminded me that I don't speak French, but my kids do, and kept saying merde de tête, is it?
Oh, yes, head.
Yes, and they loved the fact that I didn't know what it meant, and they were allowed to say it all the time. And I said, well done. I'm glad you're picking up some French. What does it mean? Oh, we can't remember, Dad. But you are merde de tête. And I was, that's lovely.
Oh,
and then I found out what it meant.
Those puppies pulling the old dog's tail.
Absolutely. God bless them.
Well, listen, I'll let you get back to your family. And I just, as I say, I want to thank you. And I want to thank the audience for getting behind this production, because they're going to have a fantastic time in the theatre, and they're going to be supporting the theatre too.
Absolutely. And I suppose should we give out does it come along here? Do we say it, the website? Oh, yes. Do you know it?
Well, it's definitely understudyplay.com, understudyplay, all one word, understudy.com is where people should go for all the information and for tickets and for everything.
Absolutely. And I am going to buy a ticket because if I decide I'm panicking in the interval, I'll watch it from the front.
Very good. All right.
Thanks, Stephen. Have a lovely time in America, and I hope to see you very soon.
You bet. Mwah.
See you later.
Bye.